and then I just upload to YouTube.
Okay. All right. It says it's recording.
Awesome. Okay, and then if you guys don't mind muting yourselves just so there's not chaos going on. And if you have questions, I have question and answer at the end. So save questions and feel free to ask at the end, okay? All right. Let me pause. Okay, so agenda for tonight. First of all, like this is really exciting that some of us that are in a special, like we call ourselves special diamond group. Basically, we have all just kind of gotten together in a separate group, and we encourage each other, and we cheer each other on, and we help each other, and we're all kind of at the same place with our businesses, and we've decided that we would like to start doing some of our team chats together, just to, camaraderie, doing it together. We want to build more of that atmosphere. So this is what we're doing, and I'm happy that we're all together tonight. Our agenda, let me minimize that. Our agenda tonight, since I'm kind of leading us tonight, I just took my team's normal agenda, and I typically start with a welcome and prayer, share some announcements, and then we'll have our content for training. So I'm going to be sharing from the Dash to Diamond group that I'm a part of right now. I am already a diamond, but this group is also for people that are pushing for Star Diamond down the road. So this group is a 60-day group with leaders that are just insane. And I've already just a little over a week into this group, learned so much, and I'm going to share with you guys some of my favorite takeaways for that training section tonight. And then we will close, like I said, with question and answer. So if you have any questions, save them and feel free to ask at the end of the call. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open us up in prayer, and we will dive on in. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for each of the people on this call. I thank you for just bringing us each, for whatever reason, to this moment in time. I pray that you would help us to have our hearts, minds open to just whatever pieces that we can take away from this training and this time together to continue to grow this business that we believe in greatly. I thank you for each person here. I thank you for each person that will listen back to this. And I just pray that you would help us to take away something tonight that helps us to continue growing personally. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so some just quick announcements. Legacy Leadership Conference with Josh Coates and Micah Folsom and Rena Odell and a bunch of other people. It is actually next week. We start on Friday next week. So it's in Tulsa, and I know that there are still a few tickets available. 2 people from my team just this week actually got emails that they earned free tickets. So there's still like opportunities to go, and both of them this week are like, okay, I'm gonna go. And so if you are still interested in that, it's not too late. And I really believe that just me personally, I know Emily, she's a Josh Coates fan. Sierra loves Josh Coates. Lisa's going. I know that there are going to be lots of other people from our greater teams there. If you're interested and you have the ability to go, I encourage you to check it out and get yourself there, because it's going to be a great training opportunity. Super Saturday is also coming up. It is on April 8th. I know for us in the Wichita area, we are actually going on the road so that we can be with Carl Deichler, the man, yes, in Kansas City. And there's a lot of us that already have our tickets and are ready to go. And I encourage you, if you do not have your ticket, to get it, because I've heard from multiple people on the leadership team for KC saying it's going to sell out. So get your ticket. You want to be there. It's like crazy. I am almost 3 years in. Emily's 3 years in. Carl has never, ever, ever been here. So this is a really big deal, and you should make it happen. Live power hours, Lex Republic live power hours, noon every Wednesday. I know Kari Collett is leading tomorrow, so if power hour is something that is a struggle for you, I really like the way Raina is doing this right now. She has different people taking over and showing how they do it. Kari has, I know, a really unique system, and it'll be good to see how she does it. So if you can tune in live at noon, that's great. Otherwise, I'm sure the video will be up in the Lex Republic at some point tomorrow. So take time to check it out if that's a struggle for you. Make sure that you are going to invite. We have Monday evening, just a reminder, Emily, Sierra, Lisa. We are hosting a sneak peek into coaching live event. We did one back in January, our first, and we're going to do one again for all of our teams. I don't think we have a time set just yet. I'm guessing probably 8 o'clock like we did last time. But if you have people that you think in your challenge groups that would be great as coaches, you have people that you've talked to or that you kind of have pegged in your mind that would be great for this, set the fear aside, talk to them, invite them to this event. It's going to be a good opportunity for them to just kind of get a glimpse into what we do. Next Lex Republic team chat is Tuesday, a week from tonight, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Put it in your phone and be on. And then this last piece here, I always try to find just some kind of training tidbit from our online office in the announcements section. I don't know if you ever take time to really look through all of those tabs. There are really good snippets of information in there. And so I always share one thing that really stood out to me over the last several weeks. And one of the pieces that they offered was 3 tips for engaging your challengers. I know for a lot of people on my team, a lot of coaches on my team, I hear commonly that we have a struggle across the board with making sure that our challenge groups stay engaging, that people stay involved, that people don't fall off a weekend, right? And so these were just 3 tips that were listed off in the online office. First one is daily themes. This is something that I use in all my challenge groups. I always have some kind of theme every day. Some suggestions were Motivation Mondays, Tasty Tuesdays, Wacky Wednesday, Thankful Thursday, Friday, all these different things. They're really fun to get people engaged in some facet during the challenge. Second tip is recognition. And I feel like this is a really, really big one that sometimes we kind of let slide. We need to recognize all accomplishments, big and small. And one of the things that I've found to be it helped me to connect more with my people was actually like mailing out notes randomly, just encouraging them, telling them they've had a great week, telling them you've noticed that they've really put their nutrition into focus for the week, or thank them for being an encouragement to the group. Sometimes it's for winning challenges, with a little prize. Just taking the time to actually pat them on the back and be there for them. It does take a little bit of time to do that, but I find that those just little small acts of just recognizing them really help people to see that you have their best interests at heart. And even doing things like publicly announcing them with their permission. I always ask that before I post something. But those kinds of things, they mean a lot to people. Third suggestion was having accountability partners. And this is something I did like long time ago. I haven't done it for a long time, and I went, maybe I need to try that again. Teaming people together for that added accountability and support, and then having like competitions, with them earning team points, or seeing which team can check in the most times in a week, or seeing which team can get the most push-ups in a day, just little challenges like that. For those accountability partners. And then, of course, the biggest thing is that you yourself are actively engaged and participating in your groups. You have to be doing that, leading from the front always. So just a little snippet there. Okay, and diving into what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, I will tell you I have basically the way this group works is that they have one of the main leaders each week takes on a week during the training. So this past week was a guy named Keith Callahan. I had never heard of him before, but he blew my mind. And it was just awesome to hear from him every single day. And basically the way that it is set up, they go live in our group once a day, almost. He skipped a few days, but he also shared in resources and things like that on the days he didn't go live. But so live videos every day. And so a lot of the information I'm going to share with you guys, it's just what really stood out to me. And so I'm kind of going to bounce all over because he shared lots of different snippets. He had a lot of amazing one-liners, things that like just really hit home for me. So that's kind of how I'm going to share it with you guys. I hope I'm not too ADD, but I'll do my best. So, Dash to Diamond takeaways. So let me tell you just a little bit about Keith Callahan. If you're like me, you're like, who is this guy? Typically, you've heard of a lot of the top coaches. And that was the thing that really stood out to me from the get-go was he's not one of the like top 10 coaches. He's never been a top 10 coach. He has been elite, but he's not one of those names that you see all the time. He's not somebody who has all of the accolades, who's won Team Cup 5 times, who, all of those, like his name in the spotlight. He's not that guy. And it really stood out to me that somebody like him could reach the point in his business that he has. So let me just give you his stats so you understand where this information is coming from. It's from a legitimate, successful, crazy successful person in this business. In his whole entire organization, so not personally sponsored, but his organization, he's been coaching for 6 years, and he has 30,000 coaches in his downline. Of that 30,000 coaches, there are 25 5-star and up coaches. That right there, like, whoa. Over 600 coaches on his team are lifetime diamonds. Like I said, he's been coaching for 6 years. And this is another thing that he said. He's not a top recruiter. The highest success club he has ever hit is 17. He hit the $1 Million Club after 3.5 years in this business. That like just not like his stats in general like blow your mind. You're like, wait, but I've never heard of this guy. He's not a top 10 coach. How has he earned all these things and he's not the name in lights? That so stood out to me. I was like, I've got to tune into what this guy has to say. He says his big thing that I've caught across all his videos over the past week was that he got to this place by setting and taking action on a long-term vision. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, the whole vision piece that you hear about a lot of times within this business, it's been hard for me. Like I have goals I'd like to achieve. I'm really good at the short term. I'm really good at monthly goal setting, kind of looking at the year scope, but like that long-term vision piece, I really had a hard time like nailing down what that looked like for me. And so second that he started talking about long-term vision, that was how he got there. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to like really tune into what he has to say about this. And I will tell you guys, in the week training that I had with him, I have made like leaps and bounds of progress over what I foresee for my business long-term just from learning from him. So his long-term vision was to create a recession-proof business. I don't know about you guys, but that's something I want. Like, I want to have security in this. I feel like the place I'm at, if I speak honestly with my business, I can make it a few months where I have some downtime, you know, like I've shared with many of you, I had a slump last fall after we lost my grandpa. I really struggled to get my stuff together to stay on track. And thankfully, like, I had about a 3-month period of time there where I still brought in enough income to be able to be home. But that was about it. Like, once I hit the end of that 3 months, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get back on my feet. And the whole thought of creating a business that is recession proof, that is secure, that provides long-term security, that's something that I want. He said that his main focus to create that was on building a thriving organization. So a lot of times the focus, at least from what we hear a lot of times from top coaches, is personally sponsored coaches. Help them get to here, help them get to here, help them to get to here, keep yourself here. But it doesn't necessarily focus on your organization as a whole. And his big thing was every single, like, what the beauty of network marketing, the beauty of our whole setup is that we work together. So in his perspective, and what he has done is focusing on not just his personally sponsored coaches, but being there and helping and mentoring and loving on and helping them to build teams, everybody in his downline. So he focused on, this is a big phrase he said multiple times, building a team of teams. Okay, so he doesn't have like a team that he doesn't have a team that's like, well, I'm just going to say, like, our team, the Lux Republic, we're all part of the Lux Republic. Like, he doesn't even have like a team like that. He's the leader of leaders, all of these main people who have their teams, and then he helps build all of them up. He said that it was more important for them to be recognized, his leaders. He focused on being a leader of leaders, and I love that. He says that so often, be a leader of leaders, not a leader of followers. Leader of leaders don't need people to need them. They want their people to exceed them. And that really clicked in my mind too. Oftentimes we're the ones out front on our team pages. We're the ones that are doing. We're the ones that are answering a million questions. He focused on building up leaders within his team so that they could all do that together. People didn't rely on him. They relied on the team. And creating that kind of culture was like, that's awesome. I want that with my team. If you want a team that is run by you, be a leader of followers. If you want it to run without you, be a leader of leaders. Doesn't that just rock? Like, hearing that, I'm like, I want that for our team. And I see that potential for our team. This is a message. I had Raina, we had a diamond chat last week, and it really stood out to me. At one point in one of his calls, he said that he was able to literally take off 2 full years, and he still watched his business explode. And I like sat there and I was like, wait, what? Like, how did you do that? So I asked Raina on our diamond chat, I said, so he said that, and I want to know, like, what did that look like? Was he literally like not working during those 2 years? How did that function? Because I have, with him helping me kind of working on this visioning piece this past week, Daniel and I talking a lot over time, my long-term vision with this business is helping tons of people, helping people find their own financial freedom, and then for our family personally, paying off debt and being able to fund a long-term mission for my family overseas. And when I reached that point, I'm like, what do I do? Because overseas, internet's going to be in and out. Like, well, I won't be able to do exactly as much as I do now. What would that time period look like for us? And so when he said he literally took off 2 years, I was like, tell me more. So Raina said, well, that didn't stand out to me. I guess that blew over when we were listening to the call, and she said, I don't know if that's possible, that he literally didn't work for 2 years. So let me ask him about it. Maybe we misunderstood. And I said, yes, please ask. So this is the message that went back and forth between Raina and Keith. And he responded and said, I literally did nothing, 2 to 3 hours a week to maintain my business. I worked really hard to build true leaders in the business. Liz Hartkey, Jess Vanderberg, Tanya, that should be Landis, Nicole Jones, Tony Furtado, etc. And Raina responded back, rock stars, how many years into the business was it when you did that? He said they all developed and built their own teams. My whole plan from day one was to build leaders, and they had their team pages, etc. I made sure that I was never the big guy and always put my leaders out front. So when I eventually took time off, nobody even noticed. I literally would go a week without a direct message, text, phone call, etc., not one. That's why me and all my leaders are so passionate about building real leaders. It's so secure. So the year, actually more like 2 that I took off, was the same year that all the above mentioned names found their 5 true leaders. And that's how I went from 5 5-stars to 25-ish. That was year 5 and 6. And that's where the volume took a huge jump. So, oh my goodness, when you read that and you hear that, does that not just so appeal to you guys? I don't know, for me, that's what I envision. That's what I want to reach. That's the place I want to be at, so that we can go on a long-term mission. I can still check in with my team, a few hours a week, but to have a self-functioning team, people that are doing their own things, people that have stepped up and that are willing to take on that leadership role, that's what I want. So he gave these steps for what goals you should set if this is the kind of structure that you want to have. This is what he has made duplicatable for his team. This is what his leaders preach to their teams. These are the steps that you go through to reach that kind of place, how it has worked for him. He said, goal number 1, first and foremost, what we all hear often is getting yourself to diamond. Goal number 2, he says, is getting your spouse to diamond. Number 3 then is getting to a 2-star diamond business, because at that point you can open your second business center. I honestly don't know a ton about that. That's something that I think Kenzie's at that place. Maybe she can tell us more about that at some point. But opening a second business center is apparently huge for collecting more volume from your whole entire organization. So good for finances. 4th goal, he says, is reaching 5-star diamond. And like you saw in his message that he said there, one of the things that he hit on a lot was you can create massive success in this business by finding 5 solid people like yourself that are all in with this. So he always says finding your 5. That should be your focus in those first years, is finding your 5. You're going to have a whole lot of people that contribute to your team that are discount coaches, that are challengers, that are kind of like hobby coaches in and out with this. But the big focus, if you really want to have solid, consistent security with this, is finding those 5 solid leaders. And then the 5th goal is to build 5 5-star diamonds. And again, he's very organization focused, right? Not just personally sponsored, organization. So those 5 5-star diamonds do not have to be personally sponsored. It's anybody in your downline that wants this, that wants to be one of those 5 really all-in people. So a little bit different of a structure than we oftentimes see and have heard. And the thing that I kind of got hung up on, I've been at that place, like I've been at Diamond now for 2 years. And I've toyed with going back and forth, like, do I get Daniel to Diamond? Because I know I could do it really easily. But I think what I'm going to do is wait for 1 star diamond to pop up on my team and then get him there. So I think I personally will flip those just so that I know I can get to 2 star diamonds soon after I have somebody on my team. That's kind of how I've taken his words, and I'm seeing that playing out with my own personal business. Okay, so his path to that kind of freedom and creation of team leaders. Another big thing that he said gets misconstrued. He said, Beachbody corporate, top 10 coaches, the top of the top are not necessarily going to say this to you because rank is preached a lot. But he said, rank, if finances play a role into your hopes and your visions and your dreams with this business, rank does not equate to a higher level income. Never build a business just for those bonuses you get from 2 star diamond, 5 star diamond, and beyond. He said, strive for team and organizational leader. So thinking about that leadership ladder piece, he said that that's way more important in his opinion than just trying to hold 15 star diamond. He said, you will kill yourself trying to hold that rank for that bonus when you can be stress-free with team leaders on your team. And that was kind of, I know Kate Kraft she's one of the leaders in the Lux Republic on the Diamond Chat, you know, as we were recapping, talking through this last week. She was like, man, he didn't have any posters behind him. He didn't have his cool Photoshopped face from the Elite boards. Like, he didn't have the Team Cup poster. He just had like a plain old office room, but he looked so at ease, so stress-free, so happy with what he's doing. He's just cool where he's at. And he didn't need all of those accolades that many of us really are pushing for at this point. That wasn't a big deal to him. The whole rank thing, the whole recognition, for him, that wasn't it. It was about building that security piece. And he found a way to do that without having to be constantly stressed about those pieces. And I don't, that for me, like, I'm not necessarily all about the accolades and the recognition. That's not as important to me as like I don't have a goal of being a top 10 coach. That's not something that's on my radar at this point. But having a secure situation for my family, that is. So I just really resonated with his perspective on this. On his call on Friday, he talked about belief being a huge player in all of this. So there's like that first section there was like all of his like structure for how he does this business. And then he really hit on belief and where that falls in with all of these structure pieces. So he said that there are 4 levels of belief within our business. First one comes really easy for most of us. We fall in love with the products, right? We love our challenge groups. We love Shakeology. We love the workout programs, the meal plans, all of that. We love it. The second level of belief, you get signed up as a coach, or you actually take on the role of being a coach and working your business, and you believe that there is some level of opportunity here. I think a lot of people kind of stay right there. Third level of belief, stepping in even further. You start to believe in the leadership, the ownership, the trainers, all the people at the top, Carl Deichler, what our business, our whole corporate model stands for. You start to believe and resonate with all of that yourself. And then the fourth one, he said that this one is where most people fall off. He said this is where most people are separated from the highly successful people in the business. Fourth level of belief is believing in yourself, that you have the ability to lead too. Personally, That's where I've been stuck for a long time. I've struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with depression for a while. And working on this whole leadership piece is scary for me. Like, it's been hard. And I feel, I heard him say this and I was like, that's so me. He said a lot of people fall off at that point. Why do I think I've been at Diamond for 2 years? It's probably this piece right here. Knowing and having the confidence in myself that I can lead and that I can do what other successful people can do. That's obviously got to be, and has been for me for a while, a focus for my own personal development, my own mental belief structure, the things that I listen to internally. So working on that final one for, I think, a lot of us on this call is going to be a really important player in where we're able to go and take our teams through this business. So he said, so how do you get past that? If you're stuck at one of those levels, how do you get past that? And to the point of believing and being past that level. We hear it all the time, right? By taking action. You cannot just sit and stagnantly hope that your dreams are going to come true with this by doing nothing. It takes a lot of action. It takes a lot of hard work. The things that he just rattled off, all these questions in this training, and I copied them all down. Are you getting your 5 no's in each day? He's a big proponent of, in our book that we're reading for this group, is Go for No, and it's the new revised one. It just released last week. And he says that you should be inviting every day until you literally hear the words no from 5 people. That's how you guys, I don't hit that every day. I oftentimes will do my 3s. I'll reach out to more than that if I make my time to do that. But actually hearing 5 no's in a day is insanely hard. Like, that takes a lot of messaging, a lot of conversing, a lot of inviting. And he said, are you getting your 5 no's in each day? For me, that was a no. So that's something I need to be working on. Are you going to Super Saturdays? Are you really participating in the trainings that are offered to you? He was huge on that. He said not only trainings, but personal development. If we, just hop on a call and then we have this kind of minimized and we're messaging or doing other things while we're actually supposed to be keyed in on training, or we read our personal development book and we check it off of our list and we got our 15 minutes in and we move on to the next thing. When are we actually applying the things that we've learned? That has to be included. Personal development doesn't count unless you apply it. So are you really participating in, taking notes on, figuring out how to actually apply those things that we learn? Are you doing that to all of the massive outlets that are offered to you? He also said, don't take on everything. Sometimes, especially coming from a team that we have where we're a top 10 team, we have so many opportunities for training. We have so many opportunities, there's lists of books that we want to read. But picking what specifically will work for us at that time and then spending focused effort on applying that is what is important, not just massively drinking from the fire hydrant of training and books and, getting through my 100 lists by the end of the year. It's better to focus that to what we specifically need and then actually use it. Are you staying in phase 1? So phase 1 is doing your workouts. And I don't mean just doing your workouts. I mean committing to a program, sticking with it from day 1 to the last day, following the meal plan. That's phase 1. Are you still doing that? If not, you should be. Are you listening to the National Wake Up Call every week? Amazing information offered to us freely there every week. Are you going to Summit? Are you getting involved in Team Cup when it's here? And not just jumping on a team and being on a team, but actually working hard at it. Are you working on improving yourself on the inside? These are the things that he says that you have to be, the kinds of questions you have to sincerely and honestly answer for yourself. If you're stuck somewhere, it's more than likely because one of these areas is not a yes for you. So focus on what is it for you. If it's more than one, pick one of those areas and work on bettering it, being more consistent with it, really applying it to your life. Beyond that, how do we sponsor coaches that are going places? So obviously with this organizational building, being a leader of leaders, a team of teams, we've got to find people that are actually going places, right? Coaches that really want to do this. So how do we find those people? That's oftentimes one of our questions. He says that there's 2 questions that potentials think about when they consider this opportunity. First one is, am I good enough? Probably, honestly, most of us thought that before we jumped in, right? We were like, yeah, that's really nice of you to offer, but I don't know. Second one, does this person, the sponsoring coach, have the ability to help me reach my goals? So they're thinking, am I good enough? And are you good enough? Right? He says to combat those kinds of responses and to eliminate and help resolve those questions for people, there's 2 things that we have to be doing. The best thing that we can do, first of all, is tell that potential why they would be really good at this, why we believe in them, what we see in them, what qualities actually make them a perfect candidate for being a part of our team. Hey, people are saying good night. Good night. Can you say bye? Bye. Give it back. I love you. I'll see you in the morning, okay? Okay. Good night. Good night. Good night. Bye-bye. Sweet darling. Did you guys catch that? Good night, my sweet darlings. I've never heard her say that. Bye. Okay. Focus. Oh, yes. So the best thing that we can do is by telling those potential people why they would be really good at this, and making sure that we instill in them the belief that we see that they are truly that they are truly capable of going far with this. And that comes back to, we get to pick who we work with. We don't just pick anybody. We have the ideal people that we know would fit with our team. Those are the people we hone in on. Those are the people that we reach out to. That's part of the beauty of this. We get to pick that. So we get to say what we see in them and reassuring them that we do see that they're good enough for this. Just getting to compliment people like crazy, which is really awesome if you love encouraging, right? And then the second piece, again, it's working on you. The best thing we can show a potential is that we are working on becoming the best possible me that we can possibly be. It goes back to that. Are you working on bettering yourself from the inside every day? If we're showing that and we're sharing that, they're going to believe that we can help them. If we want to attract high-level coaches, we have to actually be high-level human beings. This is about so much more than just health and fitness. I don't know if you've picked that up yet. We started out there probably with our challenge group, but the whole structure of Beachbody and what I personally love about it is it's helped me to live life in a better, more full way. It's helped me to be a more organized person. It has helped me to be a more mindful person about my time on this earth. It's helped me to be more, to manage things better, to look at my life and go, am I actually spending time on the things that are going to help me be the kind of person I want to be, to leave the kind of legacy I want to leave for my kids, for my friends, for my family. Like, it's so much more. And in order to attract people that are going to be like that, we have to be working on that every day. Not just fitness and health wise. holistically, our whole lives. We have to be those high-level people. That is what separates many successful coaches from those that don't get it, that aren't there yet, that may never get there, because it's sincerely a whole lot of hard work. If anybody ever tells you that this business is easy, that being successful and making it far with this is going to be a cinch, don't trust them. Because it's going to sincerely take hard work. In order to be successful, it's going to be working on you. It's different than the businesses out there that are selling cosmetics or that are selling, the mascara or food items. We're just different because our whole entire everything is founded on bettering your life. And that takes hard work. There's no quick fixes. We know that. And the people that are successful are the people that are, I hate saying this, but A, not lazy. They actually are willing to put in the hard work. And B, the people that are willing to listen to what is taught to them and apply it. That's not easy. It's going to be something that's hard. So if you want to be successful, be prepared to put in some hard work. Learning selling skills, Facebook skills, IG skills, Instagram, all the social media outlets, conversation skills, having our scripts for where to take conversations, knowing how to formulate our power hours, all of those things, all of those trainings, that's not what it is going to take to truly build your business. It's got to start with you. So yes, all of those things matter. And yes, we spend time on bettering them and getting, honing in those skills, knowing when's the right time to post, thinking about eye-catching things to say, taking the best lighted selfies that we can, all of those things are pieces to this, but those are not the things that are going to make you successful. It's all got to start with you. He was huge on preaching that. And it came back to me to that belief, fourth point. Do I believe that I can do this? I'm getting there. And he's helping me to see that there's a lot of these pieces that I've got to be working on personally, internally, before I can ever have a team of coaches that are going to blow up and exceed me. So, no, I don't know if that hits you. It hits me. That is it, you guys. That was a lot of all over the place. I hope that was helpful for you. Does anybody have questions? I don't even know who's on right now. Anybody?
Can you go back, or what? How do you spell his last name?
Callahan, it's Callahan.
Okay. I'm totally going to YouTube stalk him and see if he has any of his trainings on there.
I mean, he's so different. It's so different from a lot of the things that I've been trained on for the past 2 years, and he's just blowing my mind. And he even says, he's like, don't go look at my Facebook page. He's like, I'm not the best poster. I'm not the perfectly lighted selfie man. He pokes fun at himself all the time. And in our Dash to Diamond group, we're all ringing the bell, when we hit Success Club, when we sign up new coaches. And Amy Silverman and Raina are having this huge competition. Amy hit 32 today and Raina is at 28. And they all have 10 plus coaches that they've signed. And then he pops in today and he's like, SC4. And I adore him. I'm like, you are so different from everybody else in this, and I want to learn from you. So I'm sad his week's over. We're on to Amy's week now. She's starting training, and she's great too. She has her own awesomeness to bring to the table, but I'm definitely stalking him for a while now on trainings as well, because he's making me think.
I like this guy too.
Yes.
I like him a lot.
Are you in that group, Karen?
No, I'm not in the Dash to Diamond group. I think SC was a requirement for it, and I'm kind of like hit and miss. Like I have like every other month I do well, but I'm not consistent enough, I think, for that group. So right now I'm really trying to work on consistency
Awesome.
and getting out of my own head. Like, all right, I know what my barrier is, and it's in here.
But she's with me with Josh Coates' health bet. Woo woo.
Yeah, doing the health bet. I'm like,
We're Josh it.
yeah.
That's awesome. I love him. He lit my fire back in November and December and has really like helped me to get momentum going with my business. And now I've dove into this training and I've just been in some really good fuel, flaming, wonderful groups that have helped me a lot lately. So I hope it's really good for you too. Any other questions?
I just was gonna say that's crazy that he has 30,000 coaches under him. Like that blows my mind because did they say at Super Saturday that Raina had like 415 or something like that?
I wasn't at y'all's Super Saturday, so I don't know for sure, but I know she's not anywhere close to that. So
30,000, like that's insane.
mm-hmm.
But I've never ever thought about to approach it that way because like you said, all we see is kind of like everybody has their own team and the glamour of each team, but he's more like the back part of everything. So that's amazing that he took 2 years off because that would be amazing to take 2 years off and not work for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
It sounds like it's good though that that you heard it when you were thinking about that mission trip and stuff like that, and maybe that's a new approach for you to take. So then that way you're able to go do that with your family. That would be awesome.
Yes, it was perfect timing. Like I feel like there's been some divine focus on what I've allowed my trainings to be recently. Because Daniel and I we were talking through it in the recent months. We're like, so is this mission thing still something we want to do? Like, we don't know exactly. Like, I think it's still probably like 5+ years away because we have young kids right now. But I was like, yeah, that has been my heart forever. That's everything to me is getting to that place. And how does this fall into that? Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is my call for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I love what I do and the opportunities I've been given and just the blessings that I've received and being able to stay home at this point through this. It's obvious to me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But I've been looking like way down the road and that visioning thing that scares me. How does this fall into that? Because I don't want to leave my people hanging if I get to that place. Like, what does that look like? And the way he shared that, it was like a light bulb for me. So
that is awesome. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
I have to say, hearing about what he does, because so many times I don't connect with this whole, like, I want to be a top 10 coach and stuff like that, because I really, I don't need my name in lights. And so it is so hard to connect to a why when every coach out there that you see is like, oh, you get to do this and you'll get all this and I'm like, I don't want all that. But hearing somebody say, I want a stable, secure future that doesn't have me in lights, that I'm like, I went and found him already on YouTube. I'm like, all right, let's find this guy because he's the only guy I've heard say that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of gives me some hope.
Yeah, he said he's a storyteller. So in most of his trainings, you'll see from him, he teaches in parables, it seems like. I'm like, you're like my pastor husband when you talk. But he said that it all started for him. He was asked to coach for years before he actually decided to go for it. And he said that he went to his first summit soon after, and where he was still like, okay, what is all of this? He went to the summit and was like, shell-shocked and shy and these people know exactly what they're doing and I have no clue what I'm doing here. He said he knew that it was something he wanted to go for, and he made sure, I guess Summit back then was a little bit smaller, he made sure that he saw all the reserve seats for all these top coaches and stuff up front, and he made sure that he was one of the next ones. Like, he was in line so that he could be up front right behind those people. And he said in his story, he shared that he saw all these top 10 people in the front row, and then these elite coaches and all these people going up on stage and being recognized and cheered for. And he said he noticed, though, that there was this group of chairs, a smaller amount of chairs, with this black drapery over them. And none of these people were actually going up on stage for the like recognition and all of that kind of stuff. They were still obviously significant, though. And he was trying to figure out, well, who are those people? And it ended up being that those were the first ever Million Club people. And they weren't necessarily like the best of the best, the like names that everybody knew. But they were sitting over there just enjoying themselves and taking it all in and cheering on their people that were up there. Just, I don't know. He said that he realized at that summit, it helped him to start crafting that vision for what he wanted long term. And he goes, I want to be in that chair. That's what I want. So it's interesting. And I'm like you, Melissa, like I've never been somebody who was like, I didn't ever necessarily want to go for top 10. I've said to people like, that's not really my focus. But I do want to be successful, and I do want to create stable income through this. So how does that work? I've been talking to some of the girls on this call, the leaders on this call, about where does elite fall into play for me? Like Lindsay Matway talked to us in a training back in October and said, I used to set these crazy goals and then I'd achieve them and I'd go, so that wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. And she'd hit all these massive things, and it started hitting her finally that she wasn't really thinking through her goal setting. Like, does that really get me where I want to go? Like, does that touch on, does that guide me towards the legacy I want to leave? Does that shape me into the person that I want to be? And she said, you have to be really, really careful to make sure that the goals and the things that you're setting for yourself are truly going to get you to the place that you want to go, not just the place that you're told to go, which is something that you can get swept away in easily with this business, I think. Anything else, guys?
It was really good information. Thank you for presenting it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I learned a lot tonight, or got a lot out of that.
Good. I'm glad. And I will continue to take crazy notes and figure out how to apply this good stuff.
I will tell you one funny. I am probably guilty of the PD thing because I'm like, man, I just added another book to my list.
I think we all do that.
Yeah.
It's all just so good, and we read those PD books and we're like, oh my gosh, this is such good information, and I wish I could just like osmosis like create that habit. But it's taking it, reading it, and applying it that is the tricky part. So
yeah.
I feel you.
We went to Barnes & Noble tonight and it was like, oh. But I didn't buy one, but I found one. I don't know if you guys can see it on there.
Okay, 13 things mentally strong people don't do.
Right? Looked really interesting. But I didn't buy it, so we'll see. I have too many to read first.
Good job. Way to have self-control on your PD.
That sounds sad that we have to tell each other not to buy any more books.
Yeah. Yeah, my list on my save for later list on Amazon is really, really long.
I think it's a good bad habit to have if we're going to have bad habits. So
Right.
you just got to reel it in a little bit. All right, guys. Well, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to message. I'm happy to help. And our next team call will be March 28th. I think we're doing it together again. Emily, Sierra, yeah? Okay, cool. Okay, so make sure you guys put that in your phone, schedule it. I think a lot of times calls sneak up on people and they're like, oh shoot, I totally forgot about it. So actually when we put those calendars up, put them into your phone so you don't forget. You get the reminders, because I totally am, every time I'm on a call, even if it's content that maybe I already know, just being able to be a part of the team calls for me is a huge, helps me to jive with the synergy of our teams, and just keeps me feeling connected. So make sure you guys schedule it in, and I will hopefully see you on then on the 28th. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.